Welcome to the Chronically Well podcast, where we have real conversations with community that need to be heard. On this episode, I take you on a journey. We're going to travel over to Kenya to meet with Justat Kajuju. Justar is someone I have not formally had a conversation with, but after getting her forms stating the reasons she would like to be on the podcast, I did do a brief Google search of Justar. And Justar, I don't know if you know this, but if you Google your name, you do pop up. And that means that you're someone in the community that I know everyone needs to get to know. Because even though I don't know you personally, I know that you are doing some works, some heavy lifting in this space to move barriers that do exist, to destigmatize and normalize what it is living with the chronic health condition that is diabetes. So Justar, I thank you and I honor the privilege of having you as a guest on the Chronically Well podcast.
Thank you very much, Will. I'd like to thank you for the positive impact you're doing. I applaud you for that. You're reaching people far away from you, giving us strength and impacting us. So my name is Justat Kajuju. I'm from Kenya. Kenya is in East, and it is a developing country. I wouldn't really say it is below developing, like it is somewhere above the third world countries. I am a postgraduate student finishing my master's in public policy, leadership, and administration. I'm into research, diabetes research, on ketoacidosis, diabetes ketoacidosis here in Kenya, in one of the slums in Kenya. And I would say I have lived with diabetes for 7 years, and it has been quite a challenging journey. My interest is not only on research, but also on impacting other young people like me and using my voice to give them hope on living with diabetes. So in simple description of myself is using my voice, research to bring young people like me into having hope in this journey of living with type 1 diabetes. Yeah.
And I thank you for that, Justar, because after having conversations with people all around the world, I know that even though here in where I am in the US, we do have our medical discrepancies where we have to pay so much into insurance and everything. But one thing I can say that we always have is access. We always have access to the insulin. We always have access to the newer technologies, where monetary, it may seem as though everything is so expensive, like we're paying to live here, which we truly are. We may know someone else who does have these insulins, this technology. So if we're ever out, I can easily reach out to someone else. I can reach out to tens of thousands of people here in the US if I'm ever without any medication. Now, I know that in other places, it's not like that. If you don't have access, like you're biting your nails trying to figure it out. Even though today is not what it was 30 years ago, even today, I know that things should be easier. Not only your management, just easier that lessens the burden of having this illness. A great point of ease would be just people knowing what it is. And I thank you for being a part of the community that is doing that.
Thank you.
I Googled you a few days ago, and the first thing that came up was a YouTube video. I think it was from last year, maybe. You were in the studio of a news station.
Oh,
Was that last year?
yeah, it's last year. I didn't even remember that. Yeah, it's last year.
And while I was watching that, I haven't shared it with people yet, but I want to, because being in the position that I am in here and having lived with type 1 diabetes for 21 years, just seeing that video and hearing it, I was like, wow, looking at how certain people look at people living with diabetes. Like, when we say a sense of normalcy here, it just means like everyone knowing about it. Sense of normalcy there is like just people are actually afraid and scared to be around someone with it. And I could sense that while watching the video, because you kept speaking into existence, like breaking the stigma, normalizing with what it is to live with diabetes. And I can see the reactions from the host. Like, he never ever heard of this. Like, it was brand new to him. And then I was like, it was towards the end. I don't know if you've had a chance to go back and watch this. Have you?
Yeah, I watched it. Actually, they had to invite me twice to the studio so that they would record another bit of diabetes education. So I watched once.
Yeah, so it was towards the end where I know the time was running out of the interview, and you had checked your blood sugar and you were like, oh, I'm a little bit high. I need to inject insulin. And as soon as you said that, I watched a man who was very confident as a host, as a lead host. I watched this man like almost shrivel, like, what is about to happen here? It almost reminded me of here in the US, where if, let's say, a group of friends are out eating dinner or whatever, and someone pulls out an insulin pen to inject insulin, and someone maybe get like, like, don't do that around the table, or someone will go to the restroom and do it. That's what it looked like. And I said, wow. And this is on a national broadcast. It just shows how much information isn't out there. And I thank you so much, because I could sense that he was like, because he looked up like he was looking towards for someone's opinion on if he should allow this. And no matter, and you just were like, unzip, grab, you were like, I'm doing it here. I have to. And you did it. No fear. No fear at all, because you knew that's what you needed to do to be your best.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for searching and actually getting to see that. I didn't even realize that. On that particular day, I had a lot of pressure since I was organizing some event to end stigma in my university. And it required of me to pull a lot of people together so that we can work on that particular day, which was successful. And I am happy for that. Now, my main objective in the journey for advocating for diabetes, the main thing is making education accessible to everybody, not only to people with or living with the condition, but the whole community. And that gives us, or the community now as living with the condition, gives us a easy interaction with the rest of the world. And I believe when people have information is a very strong factor when it comes to life, both psychologically, socially, and in any interactive way. So when I got diagnosed, it was the first person I met was a medical practitioner, a physician. And the moment I got tested, the words that came out of his mind were not kind. My dad lived with diabetes for more than 20 years. So for me, even though I didn't expect myself as a young person to have this kind of, or rather to have diabetes, still I wouldn't have expected a healthcare professional to say some very unkind words like, you're supposed to be dead. You're not supposed to be living. You're supposed to be in a morgue. So those words really were not kind to me, and they affected me so much. So I wanted, starting from that point, I wanted society to learn the sensitivity of such language. I want to people living with the condition understand themselves to a point that they will not allow such unkind or uninformed people to affect them negatively. So that was my main push or motivation towards advocating for diabetes. So the main thing is, as much as the documents, research, and everything, there is need for broadcasts, sensitization about diabetes, and that is what I'm doing, or rather that is what most of us are doing. Yeah.
And that is what I'm receiving, because after speaking with Hamida some 5 months ago, she mentioned to me about her diagnosis and a doctor saying something similar to her, like, you're supposed to be dead. And she's like, the thing that she's trying to do is just make sure everyone knows that this is a chronic health condition, that people have it, and we just want to feel okay and want everyone to accept us for who we are. And a big way of doing that, like you just stated, is just people knowing what it is. Like, there should be no barriers, especially when you think of the medical professional. It's almost like their education is dated back 50 years ago, because every day they're dealing with someone who comes in with a different condition, correct?
Yeah.
So why is it that a condition such as diabetes is still so stigmatized and so like given this death sentence, and people look at it like it's ugly when it's not? We're beautiful people.
We are.
We are.
Yeah, we are. I think I've been interacting with so many young people. I've come to realize that there's lack of information, or rather people are getting the wrong information. And if you get the wrong information, you perceive things differently. This is due to maybe right now in Kenya, assessing insulin and other things like meters to tests and all that, it's quite expensive. So you find most of people tend to be ignorant of the fact that they better assess food, school fees, than put money in, kids who have that condition, or rather they ignore the fact that they're supposed to or provide the essentials, or rather the insulin and other commodities for diabetes to their kids. They're supposed to give them moral support, psychological support. The support also not only to let them alone understand, or rather take care of them. The parents are supposed to get involved. The friends are supposed to get involved in this journey, so that it will be easy, or it will ease the burden of a person living with the disease. This doesn't also leave the government. The government also has a mandate to make sure insulin is accessible. They're supposed to give, let's say, subsidies on things like insulin,
Yes.
the testing kit, and all that, and also the psychological support that is providing the right counseling, for example, when you get diagnosed, the follow-ups and all those things. So I feel there is not enough education. The key thing is education. If they understand the education, they understand the information, they let everybody understand about education, about diabetes. How can we live healthy? How can we, support these children? Then I know we will have a better space as people living with diabetes, and embrace it, and embrace the condition, and get ways to live with the condition positively. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. I've jotted down so many key notes from what you just said. And it first starts with how you were like, friends. If someone's diagnosed, your friends should know. Then you were like, your family, educators. And that takes me back to something I've been trying to advocate for a while now, is in the medical spaces and in schools, there should be a one pager that tells people what this diagnosis is, how to speak with people with this condition, how we can normalize it, how we can help others in lessening the burden and bettering their care so that they can be equal, back on an equal field as others. Because when we are diagnosed with this condition, it is sort of like a death sentence. But if everyone is able to come together and help, just by learning what it is, then that will help destigmatize what it is living with diabetes. It's like the more that we know, and the more people that know, the easier it would be, because it will begin to normalize. There are millions of people around the world that live with diabetes, just like millions of people around the world that live with asthma or heart conditions, different skin conditions, different cancers, different things. And when you hear about those other things, you don't often hear the people not knowing about them. People know about those conditions. People should know about diabetes. It's been around forever, and it's not going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah.
So you said you were diagnosed 7 years ago. How old were you at the time?
I was 20. Yeah, I was 20.
First, I must take a break in what I was just about to say, because if you don't know, Justar, I was diagnosed at 20 years old. Not only
Oh,
was I diagnosed at 20 years old, out of the, what do I have so far? I think 48 recordings, at least 10 others were diagnosed at 20 years old.
oh,
It's almost like we became adults, had to take on these own responsibilities, independency, and then someone was like, "You're so far advanced in life and in the things you're doing. Let me give you something else. Let me hand you this heavy workload, some more workload, so that we can see how far you can really go." And even though you were given this diagnosis of diabetes, I can sense and see that although it may have burnt you out at times, may have you questioning and wondering society, humans in general, it doesn't have you questioning yourself. You know you have a purpose, a meaningful
yeah,
purpose. You have
yeah,
a voice of empathy that wants to come back even to all communities, not just your community, everywhere, and let people know I have
yeah,
diabetes. Diabetes does not have me, and that we should all work to make sure everyone feels the way that I currently feel. Like, I can take this on. I,
yeah.
thank you.
So this also reminds me of I was able to how I actually got to come into terms with this is during my graduation. I met this physician and he introduced me. He told me the only way you're going to accept and also help others, you need to do something related with that. But then I told him, no, I'm not going to do that. Reason being, nobody will resonate with whatever I go through each and every morning until the time I go to bed. But he kept on insisting and sending me, brochures to check, YouTube videos and all that. And that is when I got interested in researching. I did an abstract which was selected among 15 actually in the world. I was among the group of 15 in 2022 to do a research on ketoacidosis. And they taught us about leadership, how to embrace all our condition, how to help others and all that. So when I came, I met the Doc Voices. These are a group of young people. And when I did my presentation, I remember I think a director or somebody came up to me and told me, "You're very young and I would like you to be part of us." So I got into the group, but since I didn't go there because of the Doc Voices, there was a disconnect at that time. But I learned a lot from those young diabetes youth, or rather youth living with diabetes. And that gave me this push and motivation to come back and give back to my society, not only do the research, I do research and also impact my fellow, students. And this is where DiaHope, this is a kind of organization whereby we have support groups. They're in institutions, colleges, tertiary institutions, and high schools. We get in touch with the young people living with diabetes and also the teachers, because it will astonish you that most of people, they don't even want to know, or rather they don't want to get associated with that kind of disease. It's termed as a disease for old people and an expensive disease. Some people believe that it's because of maybe your affluence, it's because you're old, it's because of lifestyle. That's the reason why you're living with a condition. So, I mean, when I came back and I called two of my friends and told them what I want to do, they were really supportive of the idea, and I started. But the problem is, these people living with diabetes, they don't even want, when like you take photos, and it takes a lot of time, to convince them. Nobody is going to judge you. Nobody is going to, sack you from jobs, or rather not give you job opportunities just because you live with a condition. And I mean, that's why I'm saying it's very important for us to address first education, and second, access of insulin or medication. So, in my point there is, diabetes should not put anybody down, and it should not deprive anyone from enjoying the privileges that any child, any human being in this world has. Yeah.
Yes. So normally I don't do this, but I must tell you, when you first started speaking within the first 30 seconds, I wrote down a title for this episode, and you just broke it all down. The name of the title I gave this episode was Braving the Way. I wrote it at the top of my paper, and then I put Braving the Way of Hope. And this was 30 minutes ago. And what you just stated right there about everything, about like the research, the education, the access, and how when you were first asked by this physician to be a part of a certain thing, you were like, no, I'm not doing that. It's almost a sense of like how most of us feel. We feel like diabetes is just ours, like the world doesn't really know about it. But once you hop into that ring, you began to fight. You began to fight. You began to demoralize like everything in your way, move all the barriers, all of the obstacles, and you hopped in that ring ready to go. And you're still in that ring ready to go no matter what. Like, you're doing it. You're doing big things, and you're going to continue to. So, I do have a list of things I wanted to tap into, but one of the first ones is, you were 20 years young again when you were diagnosed, not 20 years old, 20 years young. And you were in university. How did being diagnosed with diabetes at that point in time in your life truly affect you? Meaning, first, acknowledging and understanding. I'm sure there was a process of denial because you're 20 years young, 20 years strong. I mean, at 20 years young, nothing can stop you. Nothing. And I ask you these questions because, again, I was equally diagnosed at 20 years young.
Yeah, I would say it really took a toll on me. I am a bubbly girl. I was, being 20 in campus, so I had to take a chill. It was like a rebirth, actually. Everything changed. Friends changed. You're trying to, get approval. You're trying to adapt to this, new condition you're having. And I mean, apart from getting support from my family and siblings, it was a tough one. People came up with, stereotyping that we can take you to church and you get prayed on and you get healed, such kind of things. I lost friends, and actually I had to defer from school like a whole semester, because now life was like on. I'm not getting the proper, kind of uh, psychological supports. And I mean, if I gotten that from onset, then it wouldn't have been easy. If I had the support of people living with the condition, wouldn't be easy. In school, there was a support group, but it was holistically for everybody. That's people living with HIV, cancer, and you don't have the same dynamics, or rather the same, challenges. So it was not helping that much. And the stigma was there, but I would say it took my natural being of, it's me, I have a life. I've seen my dad walk through this. I've gone to see doctors, and some, whatever they were, telling me I won't follow. And I mean, I went ahead and did a lot of research to a point that I came to, an agreement with myself naturally. I need to follow this prescription, take the medication, stop thinking that maybe I will wake up in 1 month and meet myself not, getting injections and all that. So I would say it took a lot of support from my family and my endo for me to be where I am. So I think that is basically one of the most difficult part of my life that I've experienced. Yeah.
Yeah, because today you fight for everyone. But
Yeah.
7 years ago, you're fighting against yourself. Fighting against yourself. But I wouldn't deem that to your because of your own experience. I think it's more so the lack of initial resource and education. And I fight for this. Like I said, that one pager earlier, but I also fight for when someone is diagnosed with a chronic health condition. They tell us all of the physical things that can occur, right? Not at all do they talk about the psychological, the mental, emotional suffering that we will endure unless we have support. And I strongly fight for, if someone is being educated in the physical aspect, they need to also be educated in the mental aspect. We should be, upon diagnosis, not only given a physician or endocrinologist, but a psychotherapist. Even being shared access to groups. I mean, in your university, y'all had a psycho support group, but how many were there that actually had diabetes? And why couldn't they take that web of different diagnoses and break them down and say, okay, here's the diabetes support group? Because these people know what each other are going through. They've all endured this. Like, it's not that hard. It's not impossible. It's probable. So, and in your notes, I just looked, and you want to create a space for people like that, people that are diagnosed, so that they can have not only their people, but, as you put it, their tribe.
Yeah. That's true, for sure, Will. Like today, I got a call from one of the university, a person living with diabetes, and they wanted me and the group to go to the university so that we can talk, because some of the students saw them ejecting in the end to go to report to the dean that they're doing drugs. That is lack of information. So they wanted us to go and create the awareness, get the student tested and all that. But sometimes it trickles down to, resources are not enough to do that. And you try to, reach out to different people, friends, family, and the institution itself cannot do that, because if they were really putting that education, diabetes, or chronic diseases education as an important thing, then they would have provided for that. So unless they come through me now, the DiaHope, and then I go to the institution to tell them this is the right of every student to get medication. It is right for every student to get, to manage, or rather to get the essentials for taking care of their condition. And it is important to end stigma around it. They don't get it. So, the resources for this is not enough. As much as you try. The other day, one of my colleague in the support group, she was in the house because she cannot afford medication. She opted to do drugs, hand drugs. So that's whatever comes in, she will just pass out, and then maybe next day she might wake up. And that's very unfortunate. So a lot of young people are going through a lot, and family, to a point of family neglecting them. So it depends me so much to know what sometimes maybe I might be able to buy myself medication, or rather to get that. But what about those people that, forgo education for medication? And that's my push. And that's my, that's what motivates me. I remember sometime back last year, we had a camp for only now the institution that I am studying. It's called Kenyatta University. And we went to a far town called Nakuru. We were there, and then we were trying to, chat with each other, tell each other about the challenges we go through and all that. And after that camp, there was a change, there was an impact. We started recording our, AB1C, our test every day in the group that we are in. And it really helped most of us. And I feel the need for, unity and togetherness so that we can fight through as these developing countries. Access, actually, it is like, I think 25%. That's how tough it is.
Wow. And you said 25%.
Yeah.
That's not fair.
It is not fair.
I'm going to say it how it is. Like, and as you said, it's because society, they don't get it. They don't get it. And they don't get it because they don't see enough. They don't see enough of us. They don't see enough of you, enough of your friends, enough of DiaHope, enough of D-Doc. They don't see enough. And as you said, if it's more normalized in the media, dating back to when we first began recording, if it's seen more in the media, then it will help remove the stigmas, because the stigma is what truly keeps us from being our best, whether that's hiding, taking insulin, not wanting to take it around people, not wanting to join these groups. Because growing up, when we hear the term diabetes, even if we have a close relative or friend that has it, like your father, 20 years, my father was diagnosed in 1995. Like, even if we have people like that, it still doesn't resonate with us until we know more peers and
Yeah.
more people, like in the masses, like a large group of people. And when you found that tribe, it helped open up the
True.
gates, open up the gates so that you can go out there and express who you truly are unapologetically.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I did want to ask, you said your dad's been living with diabetes for over 20 years, correct?
Yeah.
20 years. Now, since your own diagnosis 7 years ago, have you seen now today, like his management change?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Like for him, I won't say when it came to testing, we use the glucometers.
Mhm.
So for him, he would just do that once in a day. A B1C, he would just do it like twice in a year, and also diet. So after understanding now, getting into research and all that, he actually at some point he got into a very bad DKA, and it affected one of his leg, and he was almost getting amputated. So when I went to see him in hospital, I told him, "Dad, you have to choose. You have to choose, accept, and follow the prescriptions of the doctor, so that maybe you can live longer." So, I mean, I won't see that even though he has been, living with the condition for all that long, he was not putting it into as an important thing to get to know how to manage, self-manage, how to, how to take care of himself, about testing, about checkups on, the neuropathy, retinopathy, and all that. So when I started doing that, and I won't tell him that I'm going to do this research and I'm doing it with these people from from US, from Austria. He got elated, and right now I can tell you he's even doing better than me. I'm sorry to say that when it comes to food, and he won't call me sometimes and ask me, "How is your B1C, B1C? How did you do what is your range today, RBS and all that? How is your fasting?" And it has become, an easy thing we can talk about. Before then, we wouldn't even have talked about that. It was a disease of elderly people. You don't know, I can get emotional because I have diabetes. But are you going to see a psychologist? How are you managing it? Right now, we can have that conversation. And I feel because I presented the education as an important factor to him, it's helping him. And also to his peers, he's doing his to his peers, because now they understand each other. They live with the condition. And that's the beauty of advocacy. If you can touch my life right now, I'm having this conversation with you, Wade, I feel so empowered. I feel so happy that, you can really relate with me, even though we are so far away from each other. I know it's impacting me. I feel like, okay, I've been doing something to the community, and it's really important. And that is the most important virtue, or rather, virtue in life.
You
Yeah, for
have
me.
you have been doing and continue doing something that's important. It's not only important to yourself, but it's important to community. And if you can give to the community, give to yourself what you can give to community and vice versa, then it just betters you as the person. And I feel as though during this conversation, like you can read my mind. And I don't know if it's because we're two people living with diabetes and everything, but like I even wrote down, all community can help. like all community, like even if it's your family, friends, school, work, like you helped your father returned that favor and helped you, and he's helping his community, his people, older people, and everything. Like community means so much. And one thing that I must acknowledge is that people around the world, I mean, you're on Instagram, different social medias, you see people around the world, and we see a lot of times where people, I don't want to be harsh in my terminology, but cry about burdens of diabetes. No two persons lived situations are the same. But when we consider somewhere like Kenya, and then we consider somewhere like here in the US, when it comes to things such as access to medical supplies, insulin, technology like sensors, even glucose meters, and the resources, like the different organizations, there's thousands upon thousands of them that can help with building peer groups and support situations. We have the walks every other day and community gatherings and meetups. Um, they don't exist everywhere. So when people here say that they're doing bad, like, and you can see it on their face, you see the tears and everything. But when you consider bad, like it's bad to them, to their own individual lived situation. But I just think like, okay, what if you had to change position and go directly from here in the US to Kenya today? What would you consider bad? Like, wouldn't you, for the most part, many would be like, okay, I'm going to go back to the US. I'm going to buckle down and I'm going to do the things that are needed, not only for myself, but for community also, because we have the access here, the access to information. That's the big thing that we have. It's never lacking. So I did want to ask, like, when you see those things across like different social media platforms and whatnot, do you ever think of that? Like, is it really that bad there?
Well, I mean, sometimes I I I trickle down to, where I am. Uh, yeah, for sure we cannot compare the US, UK developed countries with the third world countries like Kenya, African countries. So technology for sure, like 90% of everybody has a smartphone. Like in our country, 95% can access electricity. But the question is, or rather the problem or the challenge is access of insulin is below. Not everybody can access that. You can take, most of the people prefer like, let me hit and maybe I can inject myself once or maybe once in a week. You have the condition or you have been diagnosed, but you say, I don't even want to think about it. That's how bad it is for sure. I can tell you for sure, I've seen a parent saying, I don't even care. I left her at home. I don't have money for medication. I just want, whatever happens, happen. So it touches you to a point that I can share whatever I have, and then maybe next week or tomorrow, something might happen. I mean, was it today or last? I think yesterday, a friend texted me. She has completed school, but there is no the employment everywhere, not even here. Everywhere is not gone. Currently, like our country, Kenya, we are protesting. I was number one in the protesting demonstrations that were there because of the taxes. there is no insulin that is being produced in Africa. So why are they putting taxes on medication? I was number one saying the government should stop that and should care about people living with chronic diseases, because we need medication. That is like a need. It is a need for every person to live. So why do you want to impose all those taxes on that? So my main point here is we cannot be the same, but why can't we first start addressing the most important things, that is education and access to the to insulin or medication first, and then after that we can go next to technology, because we cannot start. I've not seen one of my friends using whatever you're using right now, not because I don't want or wish to do that, but it's because I have directly seen people who cannot afford a simple vial for, So first, why can't we address that first, and then education, and then gradually? Because that is it. If like in US, I know they first gave research and education and all that, and then they went to accessibility of insulin, and then now technology. I feel there is no way we can start from there. First, we need to create that foundation, and then go to the next level, and that. That's why in DiaHope, I'm trying to come up with something called an IPO kit, whereby a person will, if you're a kid, you're living with diabetes, and maybe you have an hypo, a teacher can understand, I can do this and this to this student, and can give them glucagon or rather a snack and all that, and then come up with very many coolants to keep insulin, because still there is a high level of DKA. This is because of poor, management, storage of the medication and all that. So not so many people actually use pens, not even in Kenya, in Africa. Not so many people. I mean, it's bad. Like, you can use one syringe for 2 weeks. That's how it is. But at least if we make these things affordable, even if it is putting subsidies, I'm still looking into, because I'm a policy strategist, I'm looking into taking a policy to the Senate for them to reconsider cutting on cost of these, because that's how our voices will be heard, or rather that's how they will understand that we as citizens, we are suffering, and we need them to come in, chip in, and provide us with the right prices for this medication, if at all they can't provide them for free.
Or are you currently limited in the amount of insulin you can get?
Yeah. For me, I use mixed and hot through.
Said used. What do you use?
Mixed stand. You know mixed stand?
What is that?
Mixed stand. No for mix.
Okay. I got you. So, yeah, that's something I used when I was diagnosed 21 years ago. It's like a mix of it's like a NPH and regular, like a 70-30. Is that what it is?
60-30.
Okay. Yeah. We don't even, that's not even, it's here. It's here. Some people still use it, but it's a very rare find.
Yeah. I mean, they had short acting and all those lanterns, but the price is very high. So when you come, I was in my parents' insurance. So when I came out of the insurance and I was not able to acquire mine, I settled on that because that is what I want. have afforded to get. So for most of those who cannot afford that from, pocket, it's especially students. It's it's something very hurting, and anytime I'm out there meeting with such cases, it breaks my heart.
No, and I
But
must
I know one day, through such forums and all that, I know one day it will be a different story,
it will. It
and
will
it
be.
will be a happy ending.
Because
And
of
I'm looking,
people like yourself and me, we will make it happen. We will.
yeah,
Um, so being that you take that mix of insulin, do you take it twice a day?
yeah, I take it twice a day.
Is it like breakfast, supper?
Yeah.
I remember. I remember. Now, do you have a short acting insulin? Because I'm gonna tell you what I used to do. So I used to take it breakfast. I think it was like 30 units. And then before dinner, I used to take 15 units. And then I would use it as a correction also. And it's not recommended to use as a correction because it's a mix.
Yeah,
Is
it's a
that
mix. So sometime back I used to use Lantus as my short acting, but I stopped because it's expensive. I can tell you for sure it's expensive here, and sometimes actually we lack them in the hospitals, because now the private hospitals take them, and the cover is high, and you just settle with what you can afford. You need to live and survive. So right now I just use it sometimes for correction, like 2 units after lunch. Yeah,
you're doing the
but
best?
it's not recommended.
Right. You're doing the best that what you can with the resources you have. So as long as you're getting insulin in your body, you're good. But I must ask, because in this community, I make sure that no one goes without insulin on my watch. Is if there's a way I can get insulin to you, will it be accepted? Because I have access to insulin, like even Lantus, like Lantus pens. I can I can give 20, 30 pens away easily. Like, um, if off air, if anyone, if you can be that hub where I can send them to, I will.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's going to really help in a very big way. In a very, very big way. The best part is being a person living with diabetes. You understand what lack of insulin is. You understand the feeling and whatever comes with the challenges and all that. And I'm telling you, it will be of very great help for the young people, young people who really need it. For them at least to stay in school, for them at least to, have a life.
Right.
And God will bless you for this.
Because when I hear you say things like people are deciding on their education or their insulin food or their insulin, parents are deciding on if they're going to get insulin or just let their kids basically just go through like slow death. And when I think of insulin, I think of this, like there is nothing we can do without it. Like there's nothing we can do without it. If our blood sugars are high, we have an altered mind. It is affecting us psychologically, mentally, emotionally, everything. Like, and if someone is able to have access to the insulin, then that can be a great direct benefit to helping them achieve success. Then they will be able to help out their families, help out their parents, get the education that they need without having to worry about getting insulin and worrying about the tax on it and all of those things. Like here we have programs where, like, personally, I have not paid for insulin at all in, sheesh, at least 15 years. At
Okay.
least I've had, I mean, I don't use Lantus anymore, but my endocrinologist prescribes it for me as a backup. So I have like bags full of Lantus in my refrigerator. Um,
Oh,
through Nova Nordisk, I use a fast acting insulin called FIASP, FIASP. So it's like a Humalog or like a Novolog, but it's faster acting. So like as soon as you inject it, it begins to work. So you don't have to do like the pre-bolusing for meals. And I get 14 vials of that every 3 months. That
okay.
14 vials can last me like almost a year. Like, but like I have a refrigerator filled with it. And I pay nothing for this at all. Have never. So like when people, as I say, you see people crying about not being able to get things and do things. There's there's a way to access them here if people were to use their resources. Somewhere like Kenya, where you are, those resources aren't available. So I would love to be a, a hub to that access to help.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And I can assure you it will reach the right people. And I mean, I know because I try to help, but just as one or two or three people, you cannot be able to, to help everybody.
Look, even
But
if it means
people
just
like
reach, even
you,
if it means just reaching you is a great benefit because I know all of the work that you're doing. And I know like you're going to be able to help other people do everything they need to do. Like seriously, one
I'm
person
so
can, one
grateful.
person can change the world.
Yeah, I'm so grateful for that. I mean, I don't know how even to express myself, but I'm just saying that it will reach the right people, and I'm so grateful for that. I mean, I don't know, but I'm so happy. I'm so happy right now.
Look, I'm happy for us, all of us. Um, as we do wind down this conversation, I do have like one more segment that I do want to record with you. Because I do want to get to know more of you as an individual. Because as people living with the chronic health condition that is diabetes, myself and you, like we live with type 1 diabetes, which means like we're insulin dependent forever until a cure is here, which hopefully someday it is here. And that when it is available and accessible to me, that it is available and accessible to you at the same time. Um, but yeah, we were both diagnosed at 20 years young. Like I said, we knew what we were going to be doing in our lives. We really did, even though we truly didn't. We were out having fun, exploring life, like carefree. I'm just going to say it, carefree. Like seriously, I remember those days, like eating whatever, drinking whatever, staying up all night, going to parties, all of those things, those young adult things. And then diabetes came along and it was like someone gave us an infant that we had to
Yeah.
raise. But not only did they give us an infant we had to raise, every day we woke up, they gave us another infant. Every day we wake up, it's another infant. And as we learn diabetes, we know about it. We know what to expect when we do certain things, just like with the infant. We know that if we hold it, coddle it a certain way, how it will respond. If they like their milk warm or chilled, if they like certain things, like certain gadgets, certain toys, certain hugs, things like that. We know that as we go along. Same with their body. We know how much insulin we need. We know what foods interact with it. We know the different stressors in our life that are going to make our blood sugar rise and whatnot. And so, like, that's why I always compare diabetes to an infant, because every day we're waking up with this infant. We know more about this infant today than we did yesterday, but that's the only thing I can compare it to, because me being a father that has raised 3 children while having diabetes, I think of that often. Like, you told me already that your father has lived with diabetes for over 20 years. Do you have any other family history of diabetes or any other autoimmune conditions, such as celiac disease? That would be like gluten, vitiligo, Hashimoto's or hypothyroidism, rheumatoid arthritis, um, things of that nature.
Yeah, I have one of my aunties, my paternal auntie. Also, she has lived with diabetes for quite some time now, around since 2008. So that is like 16 years, if I'm not wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And also my grandfather, and blood pressure, and I think diabetes, but type 2. Do I know of any other? No. That is only, it's okay. In the support group also we have fathers who have hypothyroid. And the other day my physician told me that she has developed thyroid something. So those are the cases that so far I can say I've seen.
So I asked that because they're all closely related. They're all autoimmune conditions, like the hypothyroidism is very closely.
In my family, there is no history of that, but diabetes, there is.
Okay, because you said in the support group, there's people with hypothyroidism.
Yeah, when we go for those camps and meetups, we also meet young people with such conditions. And also some have diabetes and they have thyroid.
Yeah, they say normally when you do get a diagnosis of an autoimmune condition such as type 1 diabetes, that along your line, your life, there will be 2 to 3 more added on. Like myself, I have hypothyroidism. I have different types of arthritis, fibromyalgia, which is chronic pain. Yeah, it's a slew of things, but none of them, to me, are nearly as intricate and detrimental as diabetes is. Diabetes is, we know, nonstop. Now, when you were diagnosed, did anyone come to you with holistic approaches, telling you like, oh, if you drink this juice or eat this, or like you will be cured?
Yeah, there's another one who came from, I don't know, he came from Egypt. He was a friend to my dad, and he came with magic water. I don't know the name. He came with our 10 liters of magic water. And he was telling me, if you take this, it is going to neutralize everything that is affecting you, and you will be healed. To some points, I was almost getting, to believe that. So my dad didn't believe that though, but I was telling him, maybe this must be true. We can try this. So I took like 2 days, and then I had to go for my checkup, for monthly checkup, and my doctor told me, maybe if you want to get to some sort of cult or something, you can never be this one. With diabetes, you need to take insulin until the day that a medication will come up, or a cure, or maybe you have to accept and live with it forever. And so many others, some trying to pray for me, others trying to, all sorts of things. But I think I had an experience of seeing, a parent living with it, and how they won't, take the insulin and all that, to a point that I didn't take that serious. And even today, or even now, my friends will tell me, I was reading from the internet, and I saw this and I saw that. And then I'll just smile and tell them, it's okay, it's good for everybody to get that kind of information. But for me, I'll take the information, but I don't think that is the right information to take for me. For me, I need to take my insulin and eat well, how better I know. And people have all sorts of stories to tell and advices to prescribe to us, but it's just them. It's that they don't have the right information.
Right. It's they don't have the right information, and upon, like, when we're diagnosed, it's a big thing called acceptance. We must accept it, but it's hard to accept the unknown.
Yeah, sure.
Like, how can you tell me that I have to take insulin forever? How? Like, I don't, like, as a 20-year-old, I who was out doing whatever they wanted. Now you're telling me today and moving forward. And I call that, it's almost like the Band-Aid approach. Like, okay, I got a wound. Let me get a bandage and cover it. And eventually it will heal. Or if it doesn't heal, I just put another Band-Aid on it, put another bandage on it, and keep on moving. And with diabetes, that's how many of us feel when we are giving that new diagnosis, because nothing has broken us before.
Wow.
Coming from Kenya, I'm sure you've gone through many different trials in your lifetime at the young age that you are today. And to know that someone's telling you that this trial right here is one that can truly defeat you, in your head, in your mind, you're like, it can't. It can't. But at that diagnosis, it could. It truly could.
Yeah.
And even though it took some time for you to accept it, acceptance is an individual thing. So even though us who work in things such as like medicine, or if we work in communities where we're helping access public health and resources, we still have to truly empathize with others and understand that their lived experience is not my lived experience. And somehow we have to actually like step into their world, their lives, and understand, like, yeah, it is a little bit different. And every little piece of a difference can change everything, change the trajectory of everything. Because if at 20 years old, that day you were diagnosed, if in that hospital that same day you met another person living with type 1 diabetes that was your age, and they were diagnosed maybe 3 years prior, and they were to tell you about how their experience has been, and that now today, like, they're thriving and diabetes is not holding them back or whatnot, that could have changed your whole trajectory from day one.
Yeah.
And that's something you're doing today.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah. That's,
go ahead.
yeah. I mean, and that is positive impacts. It is, I, I find joy in doing that. Though I can't say I fully, I think at some time um, we all have disconnect in the experience and the challenges that come with the condition each and every day. You might be all okay on, yes, I know this is what I'm supposed to do, but another thing keep coming. Yeah, maybe you were taking plantain or through for your breakfast and your sugars are okay, and then tomorrow they spike. So each and every, it is like a roller coaster. We keep, being strong, being smart, being, embracing the
Being
challenges
resil- being resilient.
being resilient and soldiering on each and every, and that's the beauty of the whole journey, the embrace, being resilient and also smart on, all those kind of challenges that we encounter. So I can really resonate with you on that.
As a person that lives with type 1 diabetes like yourself, like, I'm truly fascinated and amazed that you're able to do the things that you do, especially like you are the resource. Early on, you may have been looking for resources and guidance, but today you are that guidance. You are that resource. And I must ask, how have you been able to truly become that, become who you are, considering your diagnosis and knowing the burdens, the stigmas, all of those things? What gives you that continued push and drive?
Um, Myself, I mean, I believe in, once you have the right information, sharing it to, those that don't have that information, and bringing impact and change, because not everybody can come out here and allow themselves share the experience of something that not everybody even understand what it is. They can't see, sometimes you meet people, maybe you can't take something and they will ask, no, the way you look, you can't be diabetic. And then they will say, they will, sorry about that. They'll see another person and say, this one looks like he or she has diabetes. So it hurts me so much when such information, or rather such comments, come out. And again, I feel I should use my voice that current that God has granted me to, call out on the institutions, government institutions, for example, for them to do the right thing. So if I sit down, keep quiet, then who will do this? Am I going to wait for some more 20 years for somebody to come and start speaking about it. Yes, we have organizations, for instance, but are these organizations led by patients, or rather patient-led? I mean, if I am experiencing this, it is on my best position to call out. It is on my best interest to speak for others, to show them the way, to let them come together as one, so that our impact, our voice be heard together. Because as one, I cannot do this. But if I have Will with me, if I have Hamida there, and then we are on for the same cause, giving support and directing with the right information, I feel we will be heard and we'll get the right help that we need. Another thing is, if I use my voice, I will be able to change another person, another young person like me 7 years ago. So it gives me a lot of satisfaction, and I also learn how to take care of myself day by day through doing research. Whenever I interact with people that need the resources, I struggle so much to see how can we handle this kind of a case. Can I talk to maybe a physician somewhere so that they can help a certain case? Can I talk to teachers and tell them it is okay to handle certain case like this and this? I mean, for me, it is the helping. It is the understanding, and I won't say the exposure I've gotten from, the international world also has really given me that push to give back to the community. Yeah.
I'm up here looking, I'm like, I got to get you a shirt made that says diabetic and confident. Because that you are truly confident in everything that you can do. And that's going to help out everyone, because you are a face and voice that needs to be seen, because just people seeing you and hearing you and being able to have that open dialect and conversation with you, that will help build confidence in themselves, because you speak it with such like impact. Like in today's day and age of like social media, reality TV and such, everyone's influenced by something. Why can't you be the diabetes influencer that will change the narrative that is living with it? That's what we need. We need more of us influencers in the space. Place us around in any situation, and we won't be scared to tell our stories, to tell what it is living with this condition. Yeah, you're an influencer. And
Thank you, however.
You will change it.
Thank you. Thank you. And I'm looking into that, putting myself out there on social media. And I was tied with school, so I didn't have, and I was looking into, first touching people around me so that we can, be a group, making their confidence or showing them it is okay to come out there, and they are embracing it. Very soon you will see more of young people around my country doing this more without the stigma or without worrying of anything, because I can tell you for sure it is there. You might meet a person one-on-one, you converse, and after that they'll tell you, I don't want anybody knowing that I'm diabetic. So that is because there is a lot of stigma around it. And when you have an effective way of, letting them know and giving them time and showing them that it is all okay, I feel at the end of the day, we will be able to, or rather, I also will be able to, use my voice on social media and media outreach, and it will be a positive impact.
Even today, you are a positive impact a positive influence. Diabetes may have taken some things away from you in the initial process, mentally and physically, but it's giving you so much. Like, it's giving you so much. But even though I know how much diabetes means to me today, it's like I said, it's my baby. Like it's mine.
Oh,
Diabetes is my baby, and I'm going to raise them to be the best, right? As long as I have the resources and support and guidance, like nothing is going to stop my diabetes from
I like that.
from living this long, healthy, extended life where they are able to be intricate parts into changing the scope of what it is living with this chronic health condition and befriending the best people in the world and sharing their experience and just changing the narrative and trajectory of what it is to live with diabetes. Like our babies are going to do that. Our
Oh,
babies,
yeah.
yes, yes. Uh, but I must ask you this, since we are at the end. Have you ever imagined your life without diabetes, considering you were diagnosed at 20 years young?
Yeah, for sure. I have. I have. Until lately. But when I think about it, sometimes I feel like apart from those few years, that the first 2 or 3 years, and after this, the meeting with actually DDoc voices, I feel nothing would be different in terms of my career perspective, in terms of take my take in life, and that keeps me going. Like, diabetes lives in me. I don't live in diabetes. I don't know if that makes sense.
It
It
does.
lives with me. I am the one to manage it. I am the one to tell it, no, bro, we have to, come in terms.
Because it's your baby.
Please,
You're
I
raising this
need to,
baby.
it doesn't have to limit me. I have to limit it. If I need to take the right prescription, let me take that. If I need to be somewhere doing, unless sometimes there are those challenges, but when you know how to handle them, it's all good. But for like 3 years ago, yeah, I would say I always thought of it's because of diabetes that I can't do this. No, but right now, I don't think it can limit me on anything. And I've embraced it. I take control of it. So I don't
Look,
think.
and I see how it makes you smile. It makes you glow. It brings cheer into your world, into your life, knowing that you've embraced it and that you're doing everything to help people. So it is equally sad for me to ask this final question because I know what diabetes has done for you. And I'm just going to let you know when I was initially asked this question a long time ago, I said the first thing I would do is break down to my knees and just thank God. So I must ask you this. On the day that a cure is here and it's readily available to everyone, meaning if I have it, you have it also. On that day, a cure is here. Justar Kajuju, what do you do?
I won't be the most happiest person, because now my heart won't be wrenched seeing and losing a young person, losing a dad, a mom, a old, anyone because of that. I mean, it would be a fair thing to lives and to human beings. that we can live without a worry of, living up into a medication. It is like a resurrection, or not a rebirth. It is like, I don't know how to put it, but that would be the most fair thing to each and every humankind, especially to a person that has been affected directly or indirectly. And I'm looking forward to that day that we will have that cure. And I want to be part of that journey into research, into bringing hope and impact, so that we can keep going and embracing and marching toward having that cure. So I want to be part of the journey.
Justar, you're already set out to be a part of this journey. And I thank you for joining me on the Chronically Well podcast, where we have real conversations with community that need to be heard. Justat Kajuju, I didn't know you before this opportunity. I got to sit down and have this conversation with you. You didn't know me. But today, leaving here, must I say, you are my sister. Thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.